the last Friday in the month of November, and that's time of the year when we see Thanksgiving and Christmas coming. I mean, there are about 3.5 weeks until Christmas, and of course about 4 weeks before the new year. I pray that you and I make it to Christmas and the new year 2025 and beyond as we continue to endure and skate through this unprecedented, unimaginable economic hardship. I know, mothers and parents, please don't get yourself drowned in the current economic hardship, and please don't be scared of being failed, okay? To deliver on your promises to friends and family this Christmas. Remember, second term school fee is about 6 weeks away, so you don't want to find yourself wondering. All right, Lagos. I am Zaynab, and this is Maternity Line Show. Welcome to the show. Okay, so today we are having a conversation that addresses Nigeria's high maternal mortality rate. This is a discussion stemming from the recently concluded World Innovative Summit for Health, WISH, the 7th edition, which took place between 13th and 14th November. That's about 2 weeks ago in Doha, the capital city of Qatar in the West Asia. All right. So if you visited our website, Nigerian have been following the Nigerian Info across social media platforms, you will definitely know what I'm talking about. Yes, because Nigeria Info, through our very own news manager, head of news, was live. Mr. Ufuoma Egbamuno, he was live at the Global Healthcare Conference to cover the event that brought together more than 200 experts in health and around 3,000 delegates. So that was a big event, if you want to call it that. Yes. And now, how do you feel having your boss seated live with you in the studio and having to interview your boss, one of the people that trained you to be who you are today on radio? Okay, guess what, Lagos? I'm going to be addressing my own boss by his first name today for the first time, right? Without adding Mr. or Sir to it. Lagos, I have Ufuoma Egbamuno, head of news for Nigeria Info FM, and of course Kids FM. What the baby is live with me here in the studio. Great to have you here, Ufuoma Egbamuno.
Good afternoon, Lagos. Honestly, I have no idea what Zaynab is on. Maybe she drank a camel this morning before coming to work. Funny thing is that I hate it when I'm called Mr. or Sir.
I know.
It gets on my nerves. I'd rather you call me my name. As far as I'm concerned, Ufuoma is the best name in the world. I don't care about what everybody else thinks. But Zaynab will never ever call me the name I want her to call me. Now she's calling it on radio.
It's typical of Zaynab.
Anyway, it's good to be. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon once again. So Lagos, I know you already know Ufuoma Egbamuno. You know who he is. Once again, is our news manager. You may call him head of news. And he is a multimedia journalist, also an all-rounder who has worked in almost all departments in media, including news, sports, and production. So you might want to connect with him on Twitter, on X, formerly Twitter, at Foscolo. All right, so I'll be calling out the telephone numbers as well as a WhatsApp number for you to drop your message, comment, question on the conversation that we're having today. Again, let me tell you, if you missed it the very first time, Nigeria was live about 2 weeks ago at the World Summit that took place in Qatar. And in view of that, today on the show, we are discussing some of the issues of maternal health in Nigeria. I remember during the summit, Ufuoma Egbamuno did an interview with one of the experts, Dr. who spoke keenly on the issue of global maternal mortality rate and why she touched base with Africa in that interview. She particularly mentioned that her prime concern is on the proportionately high maternal mortality rate in Nigeria. Now, Lagos, this is why Ufuoma Egbamuno is here. So I feel like I should play that interview first of all. Lagos, you might want to have a listen to this. When we come back, we'll speak further on that. Stay here.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Sarah. I'm the Global Medical Director of a Think Roman company. And just like how my CEO and our specialist spoke to you, we have a lot on our platter, especially in the field of medicines, the field of AI, and our Think Roman Global, wherein we will be connecting the world to the best of healthcare. My like we just as we were talking, the major focus why Africa is important is because of the current healthcare crisis. I definitely feel that there is a lot of gap, and that gap needs to be bridged, and there needs to be a proper connection, a proper collaboration with the proper world leaders and people who are there in the healthcare professional. I always believe a medical entrepreneur is always best to take healthcare to different countries. And looking at the disproportionately high mortality rates of females in Nigeria, that's a prime concern. And especially in Africa, Nigeria and Kenya, wherein we see a lot of infant mortality and then the ladies who face so many health crises. I think it's really important. We also have a telemedicine portal wherein we can connect and from the puberty till menopause and even post-menopause, what is it that a woman requires? What is important for a woman's health perspective to be considered? And I think our nutraceuticals will play an important role. And it's all about guidance. It's all about consulting the right people and getting the right treatment. And I think there's a saying, a happy wife is a happy life. So I think if you address the women, their hormonal issues, their mental health remains very stable, their GI health remains very stable, and overall the wellness of a woman really matters a lot. And my serious concern is on this when it comes to Africa and the women health.
So how best do you think we can solve these women issues that you highlighted in Nigeria especially, as well as the whole continent in general?
Education. I think education is most important. Education in the means of like communication, communicating to the women, making them understand what it is. And as I said, bridging the gap, making them understand their health concerns and what is the best way to tackle it. Like what are the right medicines or what are the right supplements and what is the right approach to take care of their health.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sarah.
Lagos, did you hear him? Did you hear him ask Dr. Sarah that how best can we solve the issue of maternal health in Nigeria? And for me, that's a man I personally see as passionate ally of maternal health. Yes, so he's all rounder, you see. Okay, so Ufuoma, you were live there. Please, can you tell us what exactly Wish the 7th edition was all about?
So WISH, which is an acronym, which actually stands for the World Health Innovation Summit. It's actually, a summit where, of course, you have health professionals gather to talk about issues that concern global health. For me, it's the second time I was actually attending, or I'm attending the event. I did go for so the event is actually a biannual event. It happens every 2 years. Right. So I was actually at the last edition, the 6th edition of the World Innovation Summit for Health, right. Which of course takes place in Qatar. I was there 2 years ago, myself and a former colleague, Sandra Ezekwesili. This year's edition I also attended. Like I said, it's of course an initiative of the Qatar Foundation where experts, in health come together to discuss how to move global health forward. Some of the issues we've had to deal with this time around. This year's edition, had as its major theme conflict, and all of the issues that has been bedeviling world health in terms of conflict zones. Of course, the war in Ukraine, which started about 2 years ago, the war which started in about a year ago in Gaza, and of course the one right here in Africa, Sudan, has caused a lot of global crisis in terms of health professionals. If you actually check the NigeriaInfo YouTube page, right. You would see there's a 15-minute interview where one of the moderators of the program, talked with the international president of Medicine Frontiers, that that's a humanitarian body that deals with health issues around conflict areas. It's a very extensive interview. I would love for listeners to actually go check out that interview on the Nigeria Info page. But that's like the general theme of the summit. However, just like you have in other conferences, there are other little minor, let me not call them little, other sub themes that I explored. For example, tuberculosis was dealt with. Female mortality rate is also another issue that was which is our focus on the show today. AI, the use of AI and how it can help the world in terms of health was also another subplot. So there are different subplots. However, like we are discussing, I had that conversation with Dr. Sarah, and I was quite. It was quite great to see someone who's actually not even Nigerian have that kind of passion about mortality rates in the country and in Africa as a whole. But like she told me while we're having conversations before the interview. She is very, very passionate about those issues.
I hear that.
It also comes from her own personal experience. In fact, I was actually having the WhatsApp conversation with her just as the interview was playing, and I did tell her, I've actually told her before that, of course, we're looking to have a more extensive interview with her live on Maternity Line.
I was going to say, actually,
someone who is a non-Nigerian.
Exactly, so that she can talk about a lot more about this issue that has bedeviled the country. Because if you look at the numbers, I'm sure you have all the stats and the numbers.
I do have
if you look at the numbers, it's not something palatable. It's not something great. I'm sure there's a possible 1 or 2 persons who are listening to the show right now who have had either their sister, their mother, or their wife die as a result of giving birth. The trauma that the family members will have to go through.
Right.
Not just that, the child in question, if he or she survives, having to grow up without that motherly care, have to do with a secondary care. It's an issue that you would think that by now Nigeria should have found ways to solve it, but unfortunately it's still a topical issue.
I know, like you've even answered about 4 of my questions in one speech band, right? I would love for us to stay on the themes and, of course, some of the top subtopics that you've mentioned. But first, let's talk about statistics. Now, between 2000 and 2020, that's between the year 2000 and the year 2020, the maternal mortality ratio, that's MMR, number of maternal deaths per 100,000 live births, dropped by about 34% worldwide. Almost 95% of all maternal deaths occurred in low and lower middle income countries like Nigeria in 2020. That, according to the WHO's Key Facts 2024, published in April. Now, there is another statistics which says that's the UN 2023 statistics report on trends in maternal mortality from year 2000 and 2020. Reveals that nearly about 29% of global maternal deaths happened in Nigeria. And it's still happening because it says happens in Nigeria. Unfortunately, Nigeria has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world, according to WHO. And it says Nigeria accounts for about 20% again for global maternal death. Now, Ufuoma, let me tell you this.
Zaynab, just before you listening to that, I didn't know it was this bad.
Yes, it is.
I know it was bad, but I haven't really checked the stats. Listening to you keenly talk about the stats, 29%. That's how many countries do we have in the world? We have loads of countries,
right?
But only Nigeria.
Only Nigeria.
Out of every 100, we have 29. Only us as a country. That's a damning stat.
Now, let me break your heart further.
Oh, dear me.
According to research, the primary healthcare on which Nigeria healthcare system is based has not helped in effectively solving the numerous health problems in Nigeria. Stakeholders of health.
That's sad.
Now, beginning this month, November the 4th, the National Population Commission launched the 2024 Verbal and Social Autopsy Survey, which aims to identify the causes of under 5 and maternal mortality in Nigeria. Now, according to that study, the study seeks to gather data on neonatal, infant, and child mortality by examining the cultural, behavioral, social, and health system factors contributing to death among children under 5 and, of course, women of reproductive health. And to me, this looks like we keep saying the same thing over and over again, and then we go back to Nigerians go back to saying our statistics are not working, that we don't even have working data. So with this data put together, would you say the government is only paying lip service to all the statistics being read out?
Well, you could possibly say that because if you honestly check yearly budget for health, it's sad. It's actually sad. If you look at the numbers, if you look at what we as a country budget every year for the health sector, I don't even want to mention education. Let me leave that one out because that's not what we're talking about here. But if you look at health, look at our budget every year for health, at least over the last 25 years that we've returned to a democratic setting. It's not something to write home about. You could give some slight kudos to the present Minister of Health, Party, who is a player in the field, who understands the intricacies and who understands that, we have a global crisis, so to speak, on our hands, and has over the last 18 months, tried to remedy the situation. But I would also argue that things have gotten so bad. I'll give a very good example.
Please
if you have raw egg, you hold it dearly,
of course,
because if it makes the mistake of dropping from your hands, it scatters, and there's almost no way you can couple it back
together.
If it's boiled egg and it breaks, at least you can still peel it off and eat. So I would liken that possibly to the health crisis we have in the country, where over the years systematically we've had this failure, because we haven't taken our health the same way we haven't taken our education very seriously. So we're not, the monies we budget for health, either in the federal or in the state, in the respective state governments, is actually not enough, to cater to the problems that we have. So the issues keep multiplying, and then like the broken raw egg, once it's gone bad, it feels like it's almost impossible to actually remedy the situation. It's
more like well, I'm trying to quote Chinua Achebe here, where he says, whatever some center cannot hold again, things fall apart. Yes,
exactly, things are falling apart, and it's hard. But I think that the one way we can solve some of these issues, because you in your stats you reeled out issues that had to do with primary health care, and that's the basics. If you go to the rural areas, the remotest of villages, you find out that in some cases they don't even have primary health centers that cater to some of these issues.
So here is the thing. I remember when I was doing research the last time I was going to have essay to President Tinubu on health. So I found out that there are actually primary healthcare centers, but women are not going.
Again, it also still boils down to some cultural beliefs, in some certain areas, like you did point out. Yes, some of these places are provided, but people just don't want to go. And they gave very strong reasons. Anyway, one of those reasons was or is no motorable road for them to even get to the primary healthcare center. So, and it's heartbreaking. Zaynab, plenty.
I know. We do have a message here. This is Kemi from Magboro. Kemi says, "Oh, good afternoon, Zaynab. Nice to hear you interview your boss. This is a big one, though." Well done.
Please, you should stop
Kemi.
This Kemi, you and Zaynab should stop this thing you're doing.
Kemi from Magboro. Then I have another one from Paul. Paul says, "Good afternoon, Ufuoma. Nice to hear your voice talk on maternal health. Oh wow, Zaynab gave you the perfect qualification, saying you are a good ally of maternal health. Well done, boss.
Well, I have a
Thank
mother,
you.
I have sisters, I have a wife. You can't help it.
Okay, Lagos, to be a part of this conversation, the number to call are 0201-465-7190. Keep your message coming in as well on 0809-597-5809. I have that call drop. Okay, so now let's move because we are almost out of time. Time is never enough on Maternity Line. Now let's touch on the theme for this summit, the just concluded summit.
Yeah.
Now, one of the, so here is the part of the, when I was reading about this, I found that the theme for the summits, I'm looking for that question now. Okay, now I get it. Now, the theme, I understand that which seventh theme for this year was humanizing health, conflict, equity, and resilience. Would you say the theme duly reflects or addresses the challenges women particularly face around the world? You know why I'm asking? So, today happens to be one of the significant days dedicated for campaign in celebrating women or discussing issues that affect women around the world. And today being 29th is International Women Human Rights Defenders Day. And when you look at this team, given the fact that this summit was a global one where experts, stakeholders of health came together to look for innovative solution on how to deal with issues that affect women around the world. So this is why I'm putting the question to you, right? Would you say the theme for which seven duly reflects or addresses the challenges women particularly face?
Absolutely. Because in the real sense of the word, who are those who are most affected by conflicts? Women and children. They are the most affected by conflicts. The conflict we've talked. Nigerian Info has talked a whole lot. Kudos to borderlines, by Riti. We have talked a lot, even on our news, almost on a daily. We've talked a lot about the conflict in Russia, Ukraine.
Right.
We've talked a lot about the conflict between Israel, Gaza, Israel, Lebanon. Thankfully, the one in Lebanon, we've had a ceasefire 2 days ago.
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make is that women and children have suffered the most in these conflict areas, whether it is Sudan, or it is Gaza, or Lebanon, or Ukraine, or Russia. It's the women and children who have suffered most. And so, to a large extent, Wish 7 having this as
the theme,
the major
health
issue, actually tried as much as possible by almost all the speakers, that were on either the panel or the general sessions, they talked a lot about these issues and why we need to find lasting solutions. I mentioned the international president of Medicine Sans Frontier, Dr. Christos Christou, who had that 15-minute in Q&A on the first day, opening day of the session. Well, Lagos, you can actually watch that interview yourself. It's on our Nigeria Info YouTube page. We do have a few of the excerpts on our social media page, but the full interview is on our YouTube page, Nigeria Info FM. Where he talked a lot about how women and children have been affected by this issue, and also the fact that health workers, are the ones. Normally, during wars, journalists and health workers are people who are like
frontline workers.
They're spared, so to speak. But what we've seen in Ukraine, in the Ukraine-Russia war, in the Israel-Gaza war, in Israel, is that
Palestine.
Journalists are being killed.
Right.
Hospitals are being attacked. Health workers,
innocent
children, exactly. And the people who suffered the most are women and children. So it was like a wake-up call for the world to actually sit up, and Dr. Christos was actually quite vocal when he said people should be responsible. People should take be accountable for some of these issues.
All right, we are almost due for another short break. Lagos, when we come back, I would love to get your thoughts on this conversation. Do you believe that Nigeria can defeat the issue of high maternal mortality, which has stagnated since 2015, according to UNFPA? What are the most significant health challenges affecting Nigerian maternal health? How can they be tackled? Do we need more efforts on the part of the government, or are there other ways the issue of high maternal mortality can be tackled? Lagos, we'll be back right after this commercial break. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
This is
Maternity Line.
Maternity Line.
Talk that matters to you.
When you marry, you don't. More right after this. Street Foods Nigeria returns with a power package season focused on nutrition, hygiene, promotion of tourism, and cultural heritage of Nigeria. Watch regular street food vendors transform to becoming extraordinary food ambassadors that brings foreign direct investment under the mentorship of celebrity judges like Chef T, Diary of a Kitchen Lover, Okbayemi Famakin Kunleremi, the host with most, Eniolua, and other guest judges. Catch Street Foods Nigeria on YouTube at Foodbay TV. Turn on your notification to be the first to see it. Street Foods Nigeria Season 5 is proudly brought to you by Foodbay TV in collaboration with Lagos State Ministry of Youth and Social Development. Championed by Golden Penny. Sponsored by Calypso. Refreshed by Mortina and Tiger Beer. Supported by Hospitality Business School, Prism Healthcare, and Palladium Farms. It's that time of the week again. Are you ready to dive into the wide world of news? Join us for the Hard Fact Awards every Friday at 3 to 4 p.m. on Nigeria Info FM. We are breaking down the best, the worst, and the downright Nawa stories that had everyone talking this week.
No, wow. Some people don't do
From jaw-dropping headlines to the most outrageous events, we've got it all covered.
And y'all know how we do it, so let's get it on.
Tune in as we celebrate the stories that make you laugh, cry, and shake your head in disbelief. Whether it's the latest viral sensation or the craziest political blunder,
We are going to provide you with insecurity.
we'll give you the rundown on what's hot and what's not. And guess what? You get to vote for your favorite stories in our weekly awards. Who will take home the coveted title of the best stories of the week, and which tale will earn the infamous worst story of the week? Hard Facts Awards on Nigeria Info FM, where we turn the news into entertainment. We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, Lagos, we are back. I am Zaynab and this is Maternity Line on 99.3 Nigeria Info. I got Kike Lomo Olade in this message saying, Zaynab, I've been trying to call into the show, but I'm unable to get through. Well, the numbers to call, female only line 0201-465-7190. Our general line is 0201-277-0993. I have a passionate ally of maternal health on the show with me this afternoon, Ufuoma Egbamuno, head of news for Cool FM, Nigeria Info FM, and Nigeria Info. And Kids FM. This message is coming from the Merchants Man. Oh, let me see. I think Ikelomo is trying to call now. Let's check. Hello, good afternoon. Oh my. Please do call. Okay, another one here. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Oh, okay. Something might be wrong with the phone lines. Let me just assume. Now, this is coming from the Merchants Man. Good morning. This is good afternoon. A beautiful Zaynab. Well done, ma'am. I enjoy the program as you keep the cool voice of Rewind Master behind the code microphone on a sunny, hazy afternoon. Good work, and God bless you both. God bless you too, Merchants Man. Good afternoon.
Yes,
Hello.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my name is Shili. I'm calling from Eja.
Shile, real quick.
Yes, please. Well, I'll have to look towards the government for both in terms of funding and in terms of regulation. In terms of funding, it's a general knowledge that our health sector is in comatose and they appear not to be interested. Then in terms of regulations, you see a lot of health facilities without qualified and without licenses that they are operating. So if government can ensure that, they put this thing in budget to see that almost every local government should have a general hospital standard in every local government and ensure that the ones that are in the private hospitals, at least
we have to wrap up. We have to wrap up on that. Thank you so much, Shile. We are out of time. Thank you so much, Ufuoma Egbamuno,
my pleasure.
Ally of Maternal Health. Who joined me on the show.
Round the clock will bring the news,
Sports,
events,
talk, and even more talk.
My word is
crisis averted in aviation.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.